Breaking news. Our next live War Seats in the House Talk North podcast will be December 15th at Tuttle's at 7 p.m. December 15th at Tuttle's, 7 p.m. See you there.
Welcome back to War Seats in the House. Mike Russo, Anthony LaPanta, coming to you live from Splitrocks today. Our next live show, we don't know, but we will do one in December, as well as a couple in January. Then we'll have to figure out February because I'm gone for about 23 days for the Olympics.
And of course, it all revolves around your schedule.
Exactly. Well, we know it doesn't revolve around you because if we didn't come up with dates for this, if I didn't come up with dates with Alex, we would almost never do a podcast. You would not even remember if I didn't text you like, "Hey, we're doing a podcast tomorrow." You would never know.
I sometimes would forget, but I am very busy in February. I've got a tiling project at a friend's cabin. What about
your bathroom?
Yeah, we're going to get his kitchen done first up at his cabin. And I did get a couple beds put together today at my house during this. I had a couple days in a row off here. And I've got a bachelor party to go to in Arizona for AJ.
Okay.
I'm very busy during February.
So that was actually something that happened a couple of weeks ago. I get this text message from Vinny and AJ with this house in Arizona. I go, "What is this?" And it was like silent for about 20 minutes. And then they're like, "Oh, we meant this for Michael Waters, who's another friend of theirs." So they accidentally invited me to their bachelor party and then totally took it back.
So, yeah, you were uninvited quickly?
Yep, exactly. And it didn't be like, "Oh, by the way, if you want to come too." It was just like, "Oh, sorry, meant this for somebody else." So, but tell everybody, you like to say that I don't know how to do anything, should say. Tell everybody about the last podcast when you had this loud noise coming out of your wall and you all were going to spend like hundreds and hundreds of dollars to diagnose the problem. And I went downstairs and diagnosed it in a second and fixed it in a second.
Yeah, well, that's the fictional version.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
There was
you literally called XL Energy Center that day. XL Energy,
and we're going to spend $0.
And then you were calling Aquarius Home Services to have them out.
I didn't. I called XL Energy only because a couple months earlier, they had come and done something outside our house and had made it stop. So I thought, hey, come and whatever you did before, do it again. There was a little thumping like bass noise coming from our basement. And to say that you fixed it.
And it was, by the way, it was thumping for like days.
For like a week and a half.
Yeah. And then I went down and within 1 second figured out what it was.
Well, it wasn't 1 second, but it also was, it was a subwoofer where the wire was loose. But to say that he fixed it was, he said, all of a sudden we opened a cupboard and he like tapped it. And that didn't fix it.
No. Yes. First of all, Margot was down there with me, so you were upstairs, so you don't even know what happened down there.
I do.
But why is it beneath you to just admit that I actually came there and fixed your problem?
You didn't fix the problem. I had to go down and disconnect it later. When all you did was touch it, and that just jiggled it enough.
I opened up a cabinet and figured out a problem that you had it.
Touched it.
Vibrating for a week and a half.
Right. And
I said right away it was a subwoofer.
No. So you opened up the cupboard, you touched it, which you were afraid of because you were like, I touched it. And
first of all, this is Margot. She almost got electrocuted.
Well, she didn't. But anyway, what fixed it was I took the wire off and then reconnected the wire. The wire had come loose.
But who diagnosed the problem?
Nobody diagnosed the problem.
I did. Are you
So you did open a cupboard. I will give you that. You opened a cupboard and said, here's the
exactly,
subwoofer.
And I called you guys downstairs and I said, I think it's this speaker.
That happened. That is what happened.
Yeah, thank you.
But
I if I would have said, why it is
because
so
you said you fixed it, you didn't do anything to fix it.
That I did something that was like helpful to you.
It was helpful, but What did you do to fix it?
I'm just saying I found what the problem was.
So you found the problem. You didn't fix the problem.
Well, I didn't fix the problem,
Right.
but I knew
So,
exactly
but you
what the problem was.
started the sentence with you diagnosed it and fixed it.
The day before you called XL Energy to have them like come out, we were talking about getting a deal for you from Aquarius to maybe have
Which
them
we
come
weren't going to
out.
do because I knew it wasn't an HVAC issue. But anyway, you just said you diagnosed it and fixed it, and I'm saying you didn't do anything to
I
fix
diagnosed it, which would have been fixing it.
No, I fixed it after it was diagnosed.
Right, exactly.
So I had to take the wire. I had to reconnect
But how
the wire,
for a week and a half did you guys not realize something so obvious?
Well, we knew that there was a.
You thought it was like blowing from outside the wall or something.
No, I thought it was an I thought the only reason I thought it had to do with electricity. So we had this like dunk, dunk, dunk going in our wall, and about a month or so ago, it had happened for a couple days, and then XL Energy happened to show up at our house to like put in a new meter, and when they put in the new meter, the thumping stopped. So then it came back like 2 weeks later, and so I called XL Energy. I said, whatever happened last time when your guy was here, I think maybe there's something goofy going on because the sound came back. And they said, well, we'll have a guy come out and look at the outside of the house, but we're not going to do anything inside. And they came back. We never heard from them, so I assumed that meant there was nothing wrong with the meter. But we had no idea what it was. It was
until
it was like
until
and the only reason we thought it was XL Energy.
I went downstairs and diagnosed
the only reason we thought it was
1 minute.
XL was because of the fact that it had stopped before.
It's just beyond belief that you don't have the ability to like just say, "Good job, Russo. You diagnosed the problem."
It wasn't. There was no diagnosis
For a week and a half. You had this buzzing.
Well, I didn't, and I hadn't even looked at it.
Yeah. Well, why wouldn't you go down in a week and a half of this loud
noise? Because it went away before.
I
thought it would go away again.
Like for a while, they thought it was your gas.
No, we never thought it was gas.
No,
I thought it was
Marlo
XL.
did, and then I said to you, "Is there a chance it's gas?" And you're like, "I don't know."
No, I just thought it was XL because of what had happened before.
Anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4. So obnoxious. All right. The Minnesota Wild. One more day goes by, another injury. So Ryan Hartman now hurt with the Charlie horse. Hopefully not too long. They're saying week to week. You know Ryan. The second that thing settles down, it's going to be able to try to gut it out. But right now, in the interim, they're going to go with Yakov Trenyan at third line center, and Danilo Yurov gets an incredible opportunity starting Tuesday night against the Carolina Hurricanes. He will center Kirill Kaprizov and Matt Zuccarello. Your thoughts?
Well, I think it's amazing how fast things change. And a team that, right now, realistically, they're out 3 of their 4 projected centermen with no Rossi, no Hartman, no Sturm. Those were supposed to be 3 of their 4 centers. We talked about it during the broadcast the other night where as the game was heading down the stretch, the games played by the centers that were in the lineup after Hartman left, so the Wild were only playing with 3 centers, but they had like 640 games total of NHL experience, and about 600 of those were from Eriksson Ek. And then on the other side, there was like 2,500 games of NHL experience. Sometimes it's just amazing how these things seem to hit all at the same time, and by the
way, they are far from the only team that are down centers. Montreal's lost a ton. Toronto's lost a ton. It is,
but I don't know how many teams have lost 3 out of their 4.
Yeah. Isn't it funny? I was thinking, I was joking with somebody yesterday. The Wild should call Seattle and offer him a draft pick for Freddie Gaudreau. Like, they'd probably get him back. He'd be pretty handy right now, wouldn't he?
He would be.
It's pretty funny.
And those are you can never prepare for all this to happen at one time. And everybody deals with injuries, but to deal with 3 out of your 4 centers all hurt simultaneously is absurd.
I'm excited to see how Danilo does in this type of role. The big thing that I think that he needs to not do is defer completely to Kaprizov and Zuccarello. There's obviously going to be that tendency to ship them the puck, which we all get. But he's got to understand he's on that line for a reason, and he needs to play the same way that he really has been with both Trenyan and Foligno. The other night that I was noticing about that line is he was always in the offensive zone in the perfect position. He gets to the inside. He's always gives them this ability to find him in front of the net. And I think that if Danilo transports the puck up ice to those two, I think he's going to have the ability to gobble up points by just going to the net front and giving those guys the ability to hit them. And the one thing that we have seen, at least in practice, is he's got the hands to make bang plays in front of the net and kind of almost be that Eriksson Ek Hartman type of net front centerman, and we'll see how he does. How do you think that he'll do? Because I feel like his game is getting better and better. The only thing we haven't really gotten to see him do is quote unquote make plays.
Yeah, that I would say that's we haven't seen any of that yet. And that the line, you're right, the line with Foligno and Trenyon has been really good, but it's been a very simple game. Throw the puck in the corner, let those guys go throw their weight around, which they've been great. And he's been the third piece of that. And you can play that way, but it's going to be different with these two guys. I don't know how much puck transporting he needs to do. I think he's got to be the guy that give it to those guys, go to the net, and Marco Rossi made a living doing that kind of stuff, where he wasn't the guy that had to be the playmaker. He just had to be the guy that was supporting the other two scorers on the line. We haven't seen Yurov show a lot of offensive skill yet. So we'll see. Maybe all of a sudden that'll be uncovered when he's playing with the two highly skilled wingers that he will be. He's going to have to be the responsible one because we know those guys will take some chances. They will turn over some pucks, and he's got to be the guy that covers for that. Rossi did a great job of that when he was playing with him. And
I know you're the earn it guy. I'm looking forward to seeing one of their top prospects play in this spot. We see other
this
teams,
is the chance to earn it.
But we see other teams do this all the time, where they come up and whether it's Perreault, I almost said Yannick Perreault, whether it's Gabe Perreault. Yannick's son, immediately called up the other day and playing on the top line for the Rangers. Bowman coming up from Henderson and playing immediately on the top line with Vegas. Other teams do this. The Wild don't like doing this, and now they've been putting in a position with their circumstances the way they are that they're going to have to give one of their players this type of option.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, there's been times where I remember a couple of times last year where Liam Ogren was recalled, and because they were missing a top six guy, rather than disrupt the lineup, they threw him in the top six. And I think in this case, Yurov was already here, so he was playing in a lower spot in the lineup. Now they're giving him the chance. But yeah, this is I always am a believer in that you have to earn it. You have to prove it to earn it. But these are the spots where you get a chance to prove it. And I think Ogren's an example. He came up here these last couple of games, and you'd have been looking hard to really notice him, where this is a chance for Yurov. Go up there and now show that you're capable of, maybe not even like right now that you need him to be a top six guy, but that you've got that in you. And now if another situation arises where Rossi or Eriksson Ek goes down, that they have the confidence to say, this can be our second center.
I think if Matthew Schaefer was here, you'd be saying he needs to earn it. He needs to, he can't just throw him on the number one power play. He's got to play seventh D until you're.
I don't think that's true. I thought Zeev Buium should run the top power play, and he did.
Yeah. But you don't think he should be on 3-on-3, but you think that he should be on the top power play?
Those are two different things. And he should.
One is his cup of tea, and the other is not.
He's running a power play, I think, is his cup of tea.
You don't think that Zeev Buium, 3-on-3, where defense in 3-on-3 overtime is all about angling and skating and things like that, not defending a net front, that is an area where they should put him on the ice? By the way, they did the other night. They immediately won.
And not with him, I might add.
I'm just saying. He was on the ice when they drew the penalty?
Yeah, and they went 4-on-3 and went 4 forwards and won the game.
Yeah.
But I think I think Zeev's going to get there. He's going to be there, but he hasn't dominated games yet. And when you look at what he's done, I mean, he's playing 20 minutes a night. Mm-hmm. So I keep hearing people, they got to play him. They got to play him. There's two rookie defensemen in the league that are getting more minutes a game than him. He's getting a tremendous amount of opportunity. He's run the top power play for, I don't know what the number would be, probably, what have they played, 19 games right now, 20 games?
Probably half.
Probably 10 to 12 of them, I would say. And if you look at his scoring, almost all of his scoring has come on the power play. He has 7 points on the power play, has 10 points overall. So at 5-on-5 right now, he hasn't dominated. He's been fine, but he hasn't been a guy that's gone out there like Schaefer has done and dominated shifts, dominated games. That just hasn't happened yet. I think he's going to be a great player.
3-on-3.
I know, but I'm saying that those guys, like Schaefer earned it immediately by being the best player on the ice when he's been on the ice at 5-on-5. And he has been a lot. Zeev Buium has probably never been the best player on the ice 5-on-5. He's going to be a really good player. He's going to be a star player. He's going to be a great number one power play guy. But right now, I haven't seen him dominate games to where I'd say it's a no-brainer that he should be on the ice 3-on-3.
3-on-3 is where his talents absolutely can
shine. But so do Spurgeon's and so do Faber's. And right
exactly.
now, those guys
and then him.
Maybe
I would much rather see them use Buium than Brodin.
I don't know. It depends. There's some situations. I asked John Hines about this the other day because I just said, would you ever consider using him in a once you have possession type spot? Because the last thing you want is if Macklin Celebrini's on the ice, or if Leo Carlson's on the ice, or Sidney Crosby, or Nathan McKinnon, or you name it. I don't want Zeev Buium having to defend those guys. I'd rather have Spurgeon, Faber, or Brodin defending them.
And Macklin Celebrini has created 2 overtime goals against the Wild this year, one with Brock Faber on the ice and the other with Jonas Brodin on the ice.
So let's put a guy who's a lesser defender and see if that works.
But the point in overtime is to make a play and win. They've lost 4 games in overtime. I almost said a bad word. Screwing around with the puck. Just playing Mr. Puck possession game, not making plays.
They've also been in the last since Dean Evison took over this club. So Evison and Hines combined, they're the 4th best overtime team in the NHL.
And what are they this year?
This year they're 2-4.
Right.
But I'm saying this system has worked for 5.5 years. I wouldn't say it's time to walk in and say, you guys don't know what you're doing in overtime. The idea here is to make a play and win. It's not
when you've lost 4 games by messing around with the puck the way they are.
So for 5.5 years, they've been the 4th best team in the NHL.
Zeev Buium should be on the 3.
And you're going to say that over a span of 2 weeks, because one of the games they have the puck for 3.5 minutes and a guy gets a breakaway and scores, that it's time to blow up your system and try something else?
How many chances did they have on that 3-on-3? They directed 1 puck on net
in the game against San Jose.
Yeah,
well,
the first one.
They hit a post and had a great chance. So they had
in 3.5 minutes, and then lost the game.
And San Jose had 1 chance,
right?
And Celebrini scored on a breakaway.
Exactly.
So that's the chances were 2-1.
And then the other night it happens. I don't really necessarily believe that this was Jonas's fault, but Jonas got caught in between, didn't challenge Celebrini, and next thing you know, he has the space to set up the goal for Colin Graf. My point is that there's one guy on this team that could do stuff from the back end that nobody else can do. I think both believe that. I think in overtime, if they felt in the Vegas series that he had to run the number 1 power play because there's no reason why you would have Zeev Buium in the lineup and not put him in that position to succeed, in a 3-on-3 where he is going to be one of the most talented players on the ice and certainly their most talented defenseman, I think he should get some ice time in those situations.
I think he's going to, but he right now, I don't believe he's commanded more than what he's gotten. I think they handed him the top, since they handed, that makes it sound like he didn't earn it. They gave him a chance to run the top power play. He was good, but not blow you away great there. So they took it away from him. The other guys weren't necessarily better, plus they need those guys on the penalty kill, so they went back to him. The time is going to come, and there's going to be a time where he is the guy who probably starts the overtime. But I also think when you know who the other side's got on the ice to start, there's times where he's not the best matchup. I believe this guy's going to be a superstar defenseman. He's probably going to be the best offensive defenseman that the Wild have ever had to this point in their history. But right now, he's 25 games into his NHL career. It isn't a travesty that he's not playing in those spots right now.
And, the one thing I will say is, if they miss the playoffs by a point, we're coming back to this conversation on how.
Because that would have been the difference
I'm just saying. The point is that at some point, we saw it the other night.
Let's just say hypothetically that you're in that same overtime against San Jose. If he's on the ice in those first 3.5 minutes, there's a better chance that they've made a mistake and turned the puck over and don't keep it for 3.5 minutes. Why is there a better
chance? There's a better chance that he's going to make a play.
Because he's turned the puck over exponentially more often than any of the other defensemen.
Anthony, In 5-on-5,
that?
5-on-5 with pressure.
Right.
This is 3-on-3.
All right. There's no pressure. Nobody ever turns the puck over 3-on-3.
The point is that he's got the skating ability to make a play in overtime.
He does.
I can't even believe that you are arguing against this.
Because right now they've got guys that are better.
You're so stubborn about everything.
Right now they have guys that are better. He will be better at some point in his career and probably in the near future.
Right. Well, they've lost 4 games in overtime.
Right. So right now we should ignore everything that's worked for 5 years and say we lost 4 games.
They didn't have Z Buium on those teams those years.
So they've got an idea what they're doing in overtime is all I'm saying.
Well,
and if you overreact to a short sample size, then you're going to all you're doing is throwing gas on the fire of mistakes. Sometimes you just have to say, look, our plan is still valid. Yes, it didn't work tonight. We had the puck for 3.5 minutes. They had a guy who got a fortunate bounce when he jumped on the ice. It was a bad change by San Jose that even had him in the position to get the puck, and he took advantage and finished. That doesn't mean your plan failed. It just means that they caught the break they needed and got a win.
And for 3.5 minutes, if he's on the ice on that play, it
would have been a no-brainer they'd scored. He's got 3 even-strength points for the season. It's a no-brainer if he's on the ice, they score.
It has nothing to do with that. It's the point is that this is his skill set better than any other Wild defenseman. And they lost 4 games. And by the way, the other night he's on the ice in overtime. Why? Because he changed it. He finally decided to use him. Because they lost 4 games in overtime.
It's his skill set if they have the puck. Right. It's not his skill set if you don't have the puck.
Well, they've had the puck for 3.5 minutes.
So I'm saying there are times where he'll be used. There will be times where I would go to other guys. No. He will be in the rotation.
It's a skill set if they had the puck. You're saying that they just had the puck for 3.5 minutes. I'm saying in those 3.5 minutes, throw him on the ice. That's my point.
Yeah, and they used him in the last game, and I think we'll see him, but he's not going to be their first defenseman in overtime.
Well, I'm not saying that he should be. I'm just saying that he should be used in overtime in more often than just sheltering him with just, here's an offensive zone draw with a minute left.
As his game gets better, we'll see him more and more and more in those spots. I think I would bet if I had to guess right now, I'd say by the end of the season, he might be the number 2 guy in your overtime rotation, maybe number 3. But right now, he isn't. Right now, they go with these other guys first, and we'll see. But I would bet by the end of the year, if his game continues to trend the way it's trending right now, I think his game's been getting better and better. I bet we'll see him as maybe the second option in overtime, assuming you have the puck at that point when you make the change, that we'll see him earlier in overtimes as he gets better.
And I have no problem with guys like Spurgeon and Faber on there. I'm just saying that he should be a minimum number 3, which he sort of was the other night. As you navigate the holiday season, think of how many ways water affects your home. Cooking for the holidays? Well, you want clean, purified, worry-free water right from the faucet. If you have a full house, you want shiny fixtures and sparkling showers. This is why you want a Connecticut water treatment system from Aquarius Home Services. Connecticut removes over 99% of contaminants from your water, and there will be no white, crusty scale buildup from hard water anywhere. You can enjoy spotless dishes, softer laundry, a cleaner home. A Connecticut water treatment system is the way to go. I know this from personal experience. I've had it for years and absolutely love it. And now through the holidays, enjoy up to 25% off a Connecticut whole home water treatment system from Aquarius Home Services. Worry-free water all starts with a free water analysis. So go to them right now. I just had one recently. They come every year to change my filters, work on my water softener system. It's absolutely awesome. Schedule your free water analysis today at AquariusHomeservices.com, and don't forget to mention that Russo sent you. Aquarius Home Services, earning the right to be recommended. Deer hunting season is here, and it's time to own your odds with OnX Hunt, the GPS hunting app trusted by millions of hunters. With the Hunt app, you'll have access to nationwide public and private land ownership information, waypoints, tracks, and much more, all at your fingertips. Go to onxmaps.com/hunt. That's onxmaps.com/hunt to sign up today.
Hey, Mark Rosen here for Stretch Lab. I had my introductory first stretch when I was visiting my relatives in New Jersey. I went to the local Stretch Lab there for my 50-minute session. I felt so good afterwards. And when I came back, I immediately called that Stretch Lab in Eden Prairie. They have locations all over the Twin Cities where my nephew first signed up. I've been hooked ever since. There are locations I mentioned throughout the Twin City area, but I stuck with my Tuesday morning appointment with Jason to get my 50-minute stretch in as part of my schedule. It's like a meditation session. He stretches out my legs, my hips, my back, my neck, my traps, all of it. And I take some deep breaths and I feel like a new man every single time I leave. My nephew's in his late 20s. I'm a little bit older, but it doesn't matter. Stretching is so important in our daily routine. Having an expert do the work is the only way to go. My advice, give StretchLab a chance to improve your overall health. Check out a location near you.
Hey, this is Randy Shaver. Along with Kevin Gorg, we host the show Fantasy Huddle on Talk North. Each week, we're going to break down the matchups for the NFL season and try to give you the best chance to win your fantasy football games each and every week. Join us for Fantasy Huddle on Talk North.
Let's talk about that overtime goal the other night. I mean, what I thought was so cool about it is just watching Kaprizov sort of direct traffic from that right flank. You could see right before his goal, 2 sequences before, he's directing Zuccarello to give the puck to Boldy, knowing that Boldy's going to give it back to Zuccarello for the cross-seam pass. And it's just crazy. Like, he had very little room to put that puck in, obviously very little time. And then, of course, coincidentally, with 9.7 seconds left, number 97
cool.
scored.
Yeah, I thought Boldy was great in that sequence, and it was. They had 28 seconds, I think, when the 4-on-3 started, and there was a part of me that they called their timeout, and Karts and I were talking a little bit, and those are the spots where sometimes we've seen the Wild hold on to the puck for 28 seconds and maybe get a shot. And we turned. I said, just hope they're aggressive here because you're going to at least get to the shootout. So why not try and then it's 50-50. So try to be aggressive here, and I thought it was terrific how aggressive they were, and I thought it really was driven by Boldy. He was assertive. They immediately got a puck to the net, and I thought they did a great job with that. I'm assuming it was during the timeout conversation where they made it clear just how aggressive they wanted to be in that spot, and then Kaprizov finished, and his last 2 games have been maybe his best 2 games of the season. He's looked like the old Kirill, where he's dominated shifts, he's held the puck, he's maintained the zone. He had 9 shots on goal the game before that, which was his second highest single game in a year, but it was just different from the start of the game.
Sebastian Aho, 13 overtime goals since 2020, Kaprizov second with 11. I wanted to ask you about Eriksson Ek and just the job he has done in the last 3 games against top players from the other team. Eichel's line, Celebrini's line, and Leo Carlsson's line totally bottled up. I think the high danger Corsi in those games are 11-1, if I believe.
Well, it was 10-0 against Carlsson and Celebrini.
I think it was
combined.
0-1 last game.
And Celebrini,
no
when
shots
he was on the
game.
ice, expected goals for was 3.7%. I haven't seen a player that low, a top 6 player that low maybe ever. And Eriksson Ek's been terrific, but it's really that whole line. Boldy and Johansson are part of it too, and they've been so effective by getting pressure up the ice on these guys, where it isn't just defending well, it's that they've forced them to spend entire shifts in their own zone. And it wasn't just though, I mean, they were great against Crosby on the previous homestand when Pittsburgh was here. They were great against the Scheifele line in the Winnipeg game of that same homestand. I just think those guys have been terrific. I thought Eriksson Ek's game has looked like Eriksson Ek's game over the last 3.
Yep, and a partial line change the other day. Johansson, Zuccarello got on there. Or was Zuccarello a little late getting off? Either way, Johansson he's had probably 6 secondary assists this season that really is the play that caused the goal. And they're usually spinning high offensive zone plays under pressure, and that was a great example there where he got the puck, basically walked in a phone booth, got the puck over to Zuccarello. So, Johansson continues to probably be their best forward this year. Defensively, this team right now, elite. 268 minutes and 50 seconds or 10 seconds. It's one of the two. Without a 5-on-5 goal against, 6 goals in the last 6 games. Other than special teams, they have just goals against. They have been absolutely awesome.
Yeah, they've been great, and they've been playing the game the way the Wild need to play. And I always hesitate to use the word they always talk about, well, we have to play with structure, That doesn't mean you don't have skill. It just means you have guys who can make plays, but you still have to play within a system. And the system has been really good lately. And you're right. When you look at what they did during this part of this homestand right now, I mean, an empty net goal against Calgary that got them to 2, an empty net goal against the Ducks that got them to 2, 1 goal against San Jose, 2 in regulation against Vegas, and yet they've gone 3-0-1 in those games with almost no offense whatsoever. And that's exciting, because when you can find ways to win games that way, that's sustainable. And I think they've been really good. Volstad's been really good, but they've played really well in front of him.
Do you think, I know that it's a cliche thing, especially in hockey writing, that whenever there's a closed door meeting, you look at that, especially when things turn around, as like the turning point, But they are 6-1 since Jared Spurgeon had that really methodical, well thought out team meeting where he didn't just, after that Pittsburgh loss, Anthony, just close the locker room door, have 10 minutes of everybody yelling and venting and not thinking things out. He went home, he and the captains discussed different things to go into that meeting the next morning before practice with substance, had a group text where they told everybody to be there at a certain time. And it felt like that meeting, the message was, let's get our, not just let's get our act together, but it was like, we have to get back to the identity. And it just feels like right now, if you look at the last 8 games, they have gotten back to what we usually are accustomed to seeing from this team, which is hard forechecking, tight defensively, and letting that create the offense.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this on the show shortly after that meeting, and John Hines addressed it with the media, and I'm pretty sure he did with the whole media. I know we talked about it in our one-off, where he said it was different than most player meetings just for that reason, that it was like a homework assignment the night before. Give it some thought, come with an idea, not just heat of the moment kind of thing. And yeah, it was a team that was lacking identity, really. They didn't seem to have that same edge, that swagger that we had seen so often last year. Didn't have a confidence in the way the game had to be played. And it's been different ever since. And sometimes Jared Spurgeon gets a knock on him, is that he's not the most vocal leader, but these are the kind of subtle ways he leads really effectively. It's been a collaborative effort since he became the captain. He's always said he wants to hear everybody's voice, not just his. Allowed everybody else to step up and talk. But when somebody needed to be the organizer of this, it was him that said, hey, it's time now I want to hear what he says and what he says and what he says, but everybody's got to listen to what these guys have to say.
I think also because, he's been around for so long, and there might even be a lot of newer Wild fans that are younger that don't realize how good this guy was, especially those first 5, 6, 7, 8 years of his career. And because they've just seen him the last 2 or 3 years, or especially since the back, that they don't really appreciate just what a good guy this is and what a great, great hockey player this guy was for the organization for a long time. And I still go back to that 2014 series when, they came back 5 different times from a goal down, 4 different times from a goal down. And he scored the tying goal with a minute and a half left, it may even less. And the fire that he showed on that, and that was vintage Jared Spurgeon. It really is a shame that so many Wild fans, maybe newer generation ones, don't, they just look at him as like, oh, he's this 5'9" defenseman that's 35 years old. He has done so much for this organization. He's closing in on 1,000 games. And he just, to me, he should be the next number in the rafters.
He might well be, especially if his career continues the way it has been right now. And yeah, I mean, last year beat up, but the 2 years before that, he was combined. I think it was a plus 64 over those couple of years, and that's even at this point in his career where he's still an elite shutdown defenseman. I mean, last year when they were able to play he and Jonas Brodin together, they were literally the toughest defensive pair in the NHL to score against. They gave up fewer goals per 60 minutes than any defensive tandem in the league. And he still has that capability. He's still a terrific defender. I just think a lot of times people look at him kind of like we've talked about with Johansson a few times this year. They look at what he doesn't do rather than what he does do. And yeah, he's not 6'4". He isn't going to knock people down in front of the net, but he still defends with the best of them.
And, the other thing is, believe it or not, I mean, you just look at his hit totals. He's their most physical defenseman, which I don't know if that's really, that might be an indictment on a lot of other people. But to your point on in overtime the other night, when they couldn't get the puck back from, who did they play? Vegas. Those first 2 minutes, who's the guy that made a physical play against the wall and got the puck back, and then I don't think they lost it again. Spurgeon, he's just a heck of a pro, as is Marcus Foligno, who's starting to play his best hockey and just needs a goal to go off his ass or something. Like that poor guy. I've also never met a player that, and maybe it's a defense mechanism, I've never met a player that is in a slump, and obviously this is a prolonged slump, 20 games without a goal, that constantly mentions the slump to the media. Like, he's constantly telling us, like, at some point I'll score. Like, it's almost hilarious. I mean, because, usually you want to keep that, like, maybe they won't notice, but he's letting us notice.
Yeah, and I think I don't know if you saw it on our broadcast the other night, when they had made the play that led to the Trenyon goal. Mm-hmm. And when they were in the celebration, you could see Foligno, he grabbed Trenyon, said something to him, he grabbed Yurov, said something to him, and we just speculated that this is him letting those guys know, like, hey, this is the kind of goal we can score. Right. This is the way we need to play. And they've been playing that way for a few games, but then to see him get rewarded and get a goal out of it by just being simple and really hard on the walls, I think it was great. And you could tell that he was making sure those guys knew that by saying we have to play this way doesn't mean we can't score. Keep playing the way we're playing, and goals are going to come. We discussed how well the Wild are defending. They are still getting good goaltending. I mean, I don't want to take everything away from Gustafsson and Wallstedt. But Wallstedt coming off a couple shutouts in a row, he'll get the nod on Tuesday night against the Carolina Hurricanes. Gus, his last couple starts have been really good as well. And so, that is a good thing. I mean, that Wallsted's got the longest shutout streak in the NHL this year.
Yep.
By a goaltender.
But to our point, like we were kind of talking in October that there was one stretch where they had the second best goalie on the ice, whether it was their fault or not. Second best goalie on the ice, 9 out of 10. Yeah, something like that. And now we're seeing it flip, which is something this organization needs.
And they've been great on this whole homestand. And really, I thought Gus, after a slow start in Carolina, was really good the last 2 periods there. Then Wallstedt was great in New York. So it really goes the homestand plus 5 out of the 6 periods on the road trip. They've had really good goaltending during that stretch. I still wouldn't say those guys have stolen games, because I think Minnesota's been the better team in most of these games, but they haven't been the second best goalie, and that's why they've found a way to win.
Completely agree, for a change. We have a microphone up there. And you're more than welcome to come on up, yell at Anthony. We're about 40 minutes in the show, and we haven't even taken a question yet. I do want to talk to you. Your old alum, not. You guys weren't high school students together, but you went to the same high school. Ralph Strangis, put into the Dallas Stars Hall of Fame the other day.
Yep.
Pretty neat.
It's awesome. And we talked about it when I first got the job with the Wild. He was still the play-by-play guy in Dallas. We had to be the only high school in America that had 2 play-by-play guys in the NHL at the same time. He was at Totino Grace 10 or 12 years before me, and he was a great influence on me early in my career. I remember when I got out of college and I just had this idea that, hey, I think I could do this, but I have no idea how to get there. I have no idea who to talk to, no idea where to start. And it was right about the North Stars were a couple of years away from leaving at that time, but I went down, I shadowed him at a couple games, and he really helped me out with some things that had helped him early in his career with how to do the job. And Ralph is a terrific guy, and we've maintained a friendship over the years since. And I know he's out of the business, but not totally out of the business. He's actually done a lot with mentoring broadcasters. He taught for a while. He's a consultant with teams and announcers for their TV situations. He filled in last year on a couple AHL games, but just a tremendous guy and really cool that Totino Grace High School had two guys as play-by-play guys in the NHL at the same time.
One of the great voices, too. He had just such a unique way of calling games. I used to love listening to the highlights. He just had this this way of sort of drawing you into the game. I did want to talk also, mention one of my good friends and colleagues, Larry Brooks, passed away last week of cancer. Happened really, really quick. Hadn't been writing this year. I've known him for 30-something years. He was a tremendous sports writer. Just to give you an example of just the impact that he had and how he was almost bigger than some of the athletes that he covered, is that just his funeral a couple days ago. I mean, so many people from the National Hockey League, including Bill Guerin, went. Lou Lamoriello went. Scott Stevens, Chris Drury, so many different people around the league. Went to his funeral. Trust me, when I go, it'll be more of a celebration by a lot of those people. First of all, I mean,
you gonna have it here at Splitrocks?
Yeah, what a gesture from Bill Guerin to head there as well. Right after going to Ray Shiro's, he at St. Lawrence. It's not really their Hall of Fame, but they had an event to honor him the other day, and Billy went to that too, and then detoured and went down to New York area for Larry's funeral. But Larry was the one thing about Larry too is he had this respect level with the players. Where in today's day and age, I was talking to Billy about this today. You put your number on the board, everything's a scrum. You get no other than practice. You get no real one-on-one time after a game in the locker room. And Larry, he didn't scrum. He would wait till the scrum's over, then he would go up. This is back when also like the locker room was filled after a game. Now it's like nobody's in there. But he would go and sit with Hank Lundqvist for 30 minutes after a game, or maybe not that long with deadlines. But he would get his one-on-one time. He also never recorded. He always wrote in his notebook. He had a hunting and pecking way of typing, which was kind of hilarious for somebody that was in the business as long as him. We all are kind of like that. But he also, never pulled punches, accountable for everything he wrote. He could go toe-to-toe with a player or rip a team and show up the next day, and was a great example for us all. And that's why the Hall of Fame honored him, 7 or 8 years ago by putting him into the Elmer Ferguson. So, rest in peace, Larry, and to all his friends and family. Question.
And I want to tell you about Twill in the Edina Galleria. Scott Dayton's Twill in the Edina Galleria. TwillMN.com is the website. I'm wearing my Johnny O hat. I'm wearing one of my many Peter Millar shirts. Johnny O and Peter Millar are two of my favorite brands out of Twill in the Edina Galleria. When I've been going to Wolves game lately, I've been wearing my Dingman shoes. I've been wearing my Brax pants, my either Peter Millar or Johnny O shirts, pullovers. The Wolves games are weird because they're really cold, and then they turn on the fire jets before the game and singe your eyebrows. You need to be prepared for all kinds of different temperatures in that building. And I just use all my Twill stuff. And as we do more shows here at TalkNorth.com on video, I'll be wearing more Twill stuff because it's really simple. I don't always try to look good. Sometimes I'm very happy being a slob, and I wear old sweats and T-shirts. If I'm trying to look presentable in any way, Talk North meetings, sponsor meetings, big games, going out in public, going out to dinner, I just put on something I bought at Twill. It's just that simple. If I put on something I bought at Twill, I'm going to look good. I'm playing a Randy Shaver's golf tournament on Monday. I'm going to wear Twill stuff to that too. Golf, walk around town, dinner, whatever. TwillMN.com. Go to Twill in the Edina Galleria. They're laid back. They love talking sports. They're nice people. Tell them we sent you. You'll have a good time, and you'll end up walking out with something great.
Hey, have you been dreaming of a lake cabin lifestyle with boating, fishing, and family fun in northern Minnesota? Well, lately I've thought a lot about how cool it would be to have a getaway like so many Minnesotans. And if you're like me, you probably think that owning your own lakeside getaway is beyond your budget. Well, if you think lake cabin real estate prices keep going up, well, think again. This is Russo, and I'm here to tell you there is an affordable way to enjoy a cabin lifestyle and all that goes with it. And yes, I said affordable. I founded a Clamshell Beach Resort, which is located on the Whitefish chain of 14 lakes for you and your family to enjoy. Here's how. Clamshell has lake homes that offer deeded fractional ownership, and the keywords there are deeded and fractional. You own it. Imagine having 5 weeks a year to enjoy Clamshell with its beaches, pool, and lodge that's full of kids' activities. Is golf your game? There's a great golf course right across the road. Like winter sports? Well, you can go ice fishing, cross-country skiing, or snowmobiling right out the door at Clamshell. And there's no maintenance, no grass mowing, no snow removal. It's done all for you. And you can own a share of Clamshell Beach Resort at an affordable price. To learn more about ownership opportunities at Clamshell Beach Resort, go to cottagesonwhitefish.com or contact Pat Egan at 612-220-9819. That's cottagesonwhitefish.com or Pat Egan at 612-220-9819.
There are many reasons to open a smart checking account at Royal Credit Union, including no monthly fees, no minimum balance, and a $250 bonus. Getting your $250 is easy. Open your account by December 9th. Receive 2 payroll direct deposits of $200 or more, and you'll get a $250 bonus. See details and open your account today at rcu.org/getchecking. No minimum balance required to obtain bonus. Offer ends 12/9/25. Insured by NCUA.
Question.
Hi. So I want to make a vote for Anthony, LaPanta, and JoJo for MVP. And also Russo, jinxes are real, and at some point in the future, I'll tell you how I know.
Okay.
And I want to make a shout out too, since it's the anniversary season, for Husky Nation, Cully and Perry. So Matt Cullen and Mark Parrish from St. Cloud State. Anybody that had the chance to watch them together in college, it's phenomenal. So I don't know if they'll be coming for any of the events, but I just wanted to throw that out there for Husky Nation. So
yeah, I'm sure they will. I mean, they were huge high school rivals too. Usually Bloomington getting the upper hand on Moorhead. I remember writing those stories when they were teammates in Florida. You know what I saw today? A teammate of Matt's was Eric Stahl, who looks great. His dad also is at practice today. Guy doesn't age. In fact, I was talking to Jordan Stahl and Henry Stahl about Larry Brooks for a while. But it was great seeing Eric today. He's an assistant coach at a local high school in town as well. I won't say the high school, so like a bunch of people don't just start going to the games just to meet Eric. But Rod Brindamore was giving him all these coaching tips today, and one of them was stay the assistant. Don't be the head guy, because you don't have to deal with no offense, the parents. So yeah.
So if you can remember all the way back, it feels almost like 6 months ago, but to the beginning of the season, and I'm pretty sure it was regular season. And I think I missed a show in between because I was kind of hot under the collar about this. I love Coach Hines, and I think that coaches should have more leeway than they get before they get tossed, if you will. But I wanted to bring it up because it was frustrating, and it's one of those things you see in different scenarios, which I'll preface by saying, obviously in big games like championship games and so forth, it's really necessary. But the Dallas game, I'm really curious if you can remember. I think it was, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they were down like maybe 3-0 or something, and they came back late in the game. So the Wild came back, and everybody that's played sports or coached knows about flow, and the flow was awesome, and they definitely had like 2 minutes or something left where they could have scored again. But the goalie was pulled, and what feels like eons of time, and I feel like they would have scored again just right away. You know, you have that feeling. So if anybody can remember that, or if you guys can remember that, if you want to comment on it, because I just felt like they got the empty netter right away, and then we lost the game, and it was Dallas, and I feel like they could have won, and I was so hot that I wanted to bring it up, and so thanks again for.
You sound like my mom. My mom hates empty nets too. She doesn't get it. She doesn't get why. I mean, Patrick was the one that
he
started
changed
this.
it and started pulling the goalie with 2 minutes plus left. And that night it was 3-0 Dallas. Minnesota got it to 3-2, and then they pulled the goalie with about 2 minutes left, and it didn't take long for Dallas to score an empty netter. But for a long time, the biggest gripe you'd hear from fans was, why wait so long to pull the goaltender? Why wait till there's a minute left? And if you need a goal, why not take 2 minutes? What difference does it make if you lose by 1 or lose by 2? I think right now it might start trending back that way, though, because teams have gotten so much more aggressive taking shots at empty nets, where they've just said, let's just take our shot and be willing to, where in the past teams seemed hesitant to ice the puck. And so it kind of, there's an ebb and flow to this. More and more teams, almost everybody, I keep a file where I note what time the goaltender was pulled each night. And almost every game, when the deficit is 1, the goalie gets pulled around 2 minutes by just about every coach. And if they're down 2, it's 2.5 to 3 minutes. And where it used to be a minute for a down by 1 and 2 minutes if you were down by 2. So I think we'll start to see it maybe trend back the other way, where it's more like a minute and a half, because there have been a lot more empty net goals this year. Interestingly, though, the Wild have been in, I think it's 13 games now where one side or the other has pulled the goaltender, and in 12 of them there's been a goal, one way or the other. It just doesn't happen very often where the goaltender gets pulled and nothing happens.
Right. So Anthony's saying bet the puck line. The one thing I'll say about that is about the empty net goals is like, I'm with the coaches on this being irritating. Like, I don't know, like back in the day, if you ice the puck with an empty net, you were in deep, deep trouble.
Right.
And now they are just, I mean, they're going
Take
for
a shot.
it. And
for a while, remember
it's bit teams a lot.
But
lately.
remember, it used to be if you were up 2, go ahead and take the shot.
But
if you were only 1, don't do it.
Yeah.
And now teams are like, just who cares? Take the shot at the empty net. That's a win if you hit it. And if you lose, the worst case scenarios, we just have another face-off in our own zone.
What was the game? There was a game recently where the Wild, was it that they scored an empty net or they gave up a goal with an extra attacker? I can't remember. But either way, the Wild iced the puck 4 different times with the net empty, and it was irritating.
I think that was the game they ended up scoring in the empty net anyway.
I think you're right.
Won the game.
Yeah. So I don't know. It just seemed a little. I don't know. Sometimes it just seems a little much. Any more questions here? There we go. Chris, it's your birthday. You got to ask a question. You have to. Who comes to the Russo LaPanta show on your birthday with the entire family?
Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday. I wouldn't have done it. Had to be something better.
All right,
Question.
so just kind of curious. Never seen the call before. Playing the puck with a broken stick, penalty called. Is there any other penalties that rarely get called?
Yeah, I was talking to Yakov Trenyan and Nico Sturm about this today. It's the face-off violation when 2 offensive players are kicked out, or defensive players. It's amazing to me. I was talking to a scout about this the other night in the Grand Casino Arena press box about this, about how many guys are kicked out of the circle. They really don't even know why, but yet it's never called on the second guy.
Yeah,
like
almost
it's
never.
ever. Like,
we've seen it. I think we've only seen it one time in a Wild game.
Yep.
And the other one I would throw out is the guy stepping out of the penalty box that has to get both skates on the ice before you touch the puck. Ryan Carter got called for it.
Jordan Greenway
almost saw it the other night.
Yep.
It was really close. But yeah, those are probably the ones.
Yeah.
And the broken stick one, we knew it right away.
Yeah.
It was immediate.
The other one that's really called that happened in a Wild game that was not called, but you're not allowed to throw a stick to somebody. Remember that was it might have been a Dumba play or something where you take a stick and you throw it to somebody. You're not allowed to do it. You can hand it, but you can't throw it. But the face-off violation, you can't. Two centers, quote unquote centers, can't be kicked out. On the one that he's talking about with the penalty box, if your one skate is still in the box and not 2 feet on the ice and you touch the puck, that's a penalty. It's a delay of game. It's happened to Ryan Carter and Jordan Greenway. But the stick one, I mean, that's one. I mean, the helmet one is now a new rule where if you lose your helmet, you have to go to the bench or pick it up. If you're in the heat of battle, you can continue to play. Like the other night, actually, Tyler Pitlick lost his helmet on a breakaway, and he immediately stopped and went to the bench. He actually could have completed that play. That is part of this rule now. But the one the other night, I mean, that was just the Matt Boldy trying to hide it. I mean,
Right.
he knew that his stick was broken. He tried to cover it with his bottom hand, and he probably should have just like kind of tapped it out. But it happened right in front of the Vegas bench, and every Vegas player immediately notified the referee. Question.
In an effort to inject some much-needed size and offense into our top six, the name that you've written about and's been on people's radar for probably 2 years now is Alex Tuck. So it's a two-part question. One, what's the current price for him? And two, what do you think matches up? Do we even match up with what Buffalo would be looking for in terms of, do they want NHL-ready talent or do they want picks and prospects?
You know, I mean, look, first of all, in terms of Tuck, if it were me, I would see if they can't sign him and then try to sign him as a free agent. I wouldn't give up any assets, but that's just me. But we'll see. I could tell you right now that the Wild have tried to make multiple deals in the last couple of years with Buffalo and Kevin Adams, and right now it doesn't seem like the Wild really have assets that Buffalo is interested in. They were in on Jack Eichel, they were in on JJ Peterka, and the assets that they were offering didn't get it done. So I can't imagine that it would get it done on Alex Tuck or Tage Thompson. Tage is somebody that Buffalo doesn't want to get rid of. I think what we all are assuming is that he might at some point get so frustrated that he pulls a JJ Peterka and is like, get me the heck out of here. And then Buffalo might not have a choice, but they are not just going to trade him away. Alex is the one. And in terms of the price, he wanted $12 million. Today or yesterday, it had to go below 10 because if Adrian Kempe is getting 10.625, I mean, Alex Tuck's got to be less than that. He also isn't having a great year. But the Wild have great relationships with his agents as well. So we'll see where that goes. But Tuck is one that I think would fit in perfectly here. He's kind of, in my opinion, what they need. But we'll see. I mean, if Matt Zuccarello wants to come back, they're probably going to sign him. So then where's the role? Same thing with Johansson, the way he's playing now. Who knows if they bring him back? I mean, look, who knows, right?
$800,000.
Yeah.
Well, if the price is right, I understand they're getting a lot of value for their buck right now.
Yeah, it would have to be team friendly.
But there's people like me that remember the last 2 seasons with Johansson and think anything they pay him is an overpay.
Yeah, well, not this year.
I mean, they should have put him on a milk carton. I mean, he was missing an action.
Well, I mean, this year, though, I mean, he can't argue with how great he's been.
It's also a small sample size.
Yeah.
Let's see if.
And you're right. I mean, he's got a motivation, right? I mean, where if you give him a 3-year deal, maybe a lot of players are like that. So.
All right. So the other part of the same question is, if Tuck is or isn't available, but you need to go out and get somebody who's the right age, the right size, and the right price in terms of salary. Who are the Wild's untouchables right now? Give me the 5 guys that you won't, when you'll hang up the phone when they ask about them. And doesn't that leave the other 15 guys available plus picks and prospects?
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't you agree that there's not a lot of untouchables on the Wild? I mean, Kirill Kaprizov, Matt Boldy are untouchable. Brock Faber is probably untouchable. I would think that Buium is untouchable. But everybody else, some people are just untouchable based on their contract status. That's why there's so few trades in the National Hockey League today. There's 62% of eligible players for no trade protection have no trade protection. Okay, I mean, that is crazy. So, and the other people that don't have no trade protection that are eligible for it are players you probably would not want. So that's why there's so few movement in the league. So I can't tell you probably how many trades the Wild have wanted to do but can't get done, or how many teams might call the Wild about a player and they just can't happen. So
yeah, that's a hard trend to break because when you've got another team willing to give you a no trade contract, then you either lose out on the player or you give them the same thing. And it's almost going to have to be I can't use the term, but it's almost has to be like a collusion type thing where owners just say, all right, enough's enough with the no trade clauses. We gotta minimize this because it's hurting all of us.
Yeah.
And they can't do it. You can't do it. I mean, you'd have a collusion hearing immediately.
Yeah. But one trend, like the reason why you want to break precedents when you have staunch policies, written or unwritten, is because now everybody else is going to want it. So a good example is, for the first time, really, since Jared Spurgeon, the Wild on the Kirill Kaprizov deal gave significant signing bonuses. Well, now, if Artemi Panarin is going to be somebody, say, the Wild go after, same agent, he's going to want signing bonuses. Or you might lose them if you don't give him, might not get them. And same thing with other free agents. The Wild can no longer say, we don't give out signing bonuses. Now, Kirill Kaprizov is a special case, right? I mean, they had to do whatever they could to get him signed. But now suddenly they've broken that precedent, and now everybody's going to ask for it.
Right.
You know?
Well, and
Doesn't
if
mean they
other
have to give
teams
it
are
yet.
willing to give it to you, that's who you're competing against.
Yep. So, Chris.
No, Dave.
No, Dave.
Here.
Sorry, Dave.
Here. No, I want to thank
Chris's
the
brother.
Yeah, so I want to thank the Wild and the NHL for Hockey Fights Cancer.
Yep.
Appreciate that, Chris and family, and happy birthday, big bro. Anthony, regarding Zeev, I think we got to unleash him in overtime, and I think you lost that battle earlier.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen, but it's just like he hasn't demanded more yet. He just hasn't. He hasn't dominated games. They tried him in the top 4. That was too much right now. He hasn't had the moment yet where it's been the wow moment. Like, look at what he just did for this game. He's had a couple plays here and there, but it hasn't been this guy just took over a game yet. And I just think we can all be patient and wait until he does that. And now he's going to be a star. I really believe that.
But I just think in 3-on-3, where else could you see him given that option? I mean, I agree with you. I mean, he has not completed plays. The other night was a great example where he drove the net and just couldn't get the completion. Or on the power play, which is what I think wound up getting him off the number 1 unit the other day, when he essentially drove inside the left circle, had nobody in front of him, and tried to put a pass through two bodies to Kirill.
There are so many days we have our meetings with the coaches separate from the rest of the media, and I'm not going to go too far down the road to specifics to what we hear there, because these are off the record conversations. But I would just say that there are so many plays that they will point to from the night before and say, here's a subtle mistake that was made that extended this zone time or put this guy in a bad spot, that don't always show up on a stat sheet. And the number of those that involve Zeev Buium is exponentially higher than other defensemen on this team. And that's what the coaches see. It's so far beyond
but there's certain things that they see with certain
But there's guys who watch the game a lot like we do, it's still, I'll walk in there and he'll say, this play, if he goes this way instead of that way, we're out of the zone at this point. This is a play that he put him, it might have looked like his mistake. It wasn't. It was because of what he did over here in the corner. And there's just plays like that I think right now, the Wild are, instead of putting more on his plate, less on his plate is better until he starts to make some of those strides.
And he did look jittery, by the way, even that first shift in overtime the other day. And I get it, but that's also kind of why you got to start giving him that experience. But, every player does that. Like Kirill the other night, Kirill turned a puck over, didn't get a puck deep, I should say, in the second period. And for the next 4 minutes, it was just helter-skelter in their own end. And it was all started with that one little play.
And the only other thing
everybody does.
The last point I would just make on the Buium, and you had referenced Matt Schaefer, it's different. Matt Schaefer's playing on a defensive core that doesn't have another defenseman that is anywhere close to the guys we're talking about, like Spurgeon and Faber. They just don't. Pulock and Pelech are their top defensive pair. Neither one of those guys would see overtime if they were on the Minnesota Wild roster either. He's in a spot where he is the only guy there that does that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And here it's different.
Pelech and Pulock, fun names.
Yep.
So one question about the power play. We've had Kirill kind of in the middle on the bumper quite a bit, and how do we get him over off to the side like Ovi, been pretty successful over there. The overtime with Vegas the other day, set him over there and make him shut it down. What do you guys think of that?
Well, it's a little different because of the fact that in many cases, the Wild's power play is all left-handed. So you've got 5 lefties on that power play. You can't just put them in the Ovi circle and let Nicholas Backstrom run it off the other wall, and you've got your guy in your offhand. So I think the Wild are at their best when they're a little more mobile on the power play and the guys aren't just set in one spot, but it all runs through Zuccarello on the opposite side anyway. He's the guy that really drives the power play, and then it's up to Boldy and Kaprizov to get themselves free. Eriksson Ek's the net front guy, but you got 5 lefties, so it's a totally different setup than what Washington had, where it was lefties coming off one side with all righties, Carlson, Oshie, and Ovechkin, all right-handers, all on their one-timer side.
Yeah.
With the upcoming Olympics, there's been talk that Boldy and Faber are going to be representing the U.S. Who have you heard that other Wild players may be representing their country similar to last year's juniors?
I mean, it'll definitely be the same guys. Obviously Brodin, Gustafsson, Eriksson Ek will be there for Sweden. I would think that David Spacek and I don't know about David Juracek, but David Spacek would be there for Czechia, even though he's not an NHL player yet. I would think it's probably, unless there's injuries, Wally doesn't have a chance for Sweden. Austria didn't make it. Norway didn't make it, so Zuccarello and Rossi will not be there. In terms of other players, Russia, we know, is not there, so there's really nobody else. But it would be the 3 Swedes, definitely. Wallstedt only if, like, a Markstrom, a Gustafsson, or an Ullmark get hurt. And then they'd probably choose, I would think, Urson over Wally. But if Wally's playing the best, I mean, he might wind up getting there.
Now he's doing everything to put himself on their radar, at least.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And
Markstrom has not been good.
No, and the Swedish scouts have been at a number of Wild games already this year to taking a look at those guys. But, I mean, Brodin will be there for sure. He was a part of their top defensive pair during the tournament last year, and Eriksson Ek is a no-brainer.
And I would think Gus is there, especially because Markstrom has just been, he got shelled again tonight. So I don't know what's going on with him. But I would think David Spacek probably would be the only other, maybe a Juracek. I haven't looked at the Czech blue liners. But I can tell you I talked to a Czech player the other day that just continues. Every time I see him, he asks me, he goes, how come they do not give David Spacek a chance? Because internationally he's just always, he was running Czechia's #1 power play a couple of years ago in Worlds. So, they love that guy. At the NHL level, we haven't gotten to see him yet. So, thank you. But grab a shirt if you would like one.
So obviously down in Iowa, again, off to a little bit of a sluggish start, trouble scoring, losing a lot of games. What are the initial reactions to Greg Cronin's tenure, and why do you think that this has kind of become the new normal for the Iowa Wild?
Oof. I don't know. I wish Joe Smith was here. He's our Iowa Wild resident expert at The Athletic. Let's put it this way. It's not Greg Cronin's fault because, as you said, this has become normal. I don't know. It's just they're blue liners that clearly were much ballyhooed when they drafted them all a couple years ago. The O'Rourke's, the Lamboses, the Spaceks, the Masters, all those guys. Damon Hunt's the only one that's come out of that. So I think that's part of it. Because why does Jesper Wallstedt look like a different goalie here behind Jared Spurgeon and Jonas Brodin and Brock Faber than he did there? I think that's definitely part of it. They don't have a lot of offense to the point that they acquired Olofsson and brought Jerry Mayhew back from retirement.
It's tough to figure and part of it has been that over the last couple of years,
injuries here.
So many injuries have required guys to come up and be the fill-ins, but everybody's deals with that at least to some level in the American League. I haven't seen a game down there, haven't talked to people about it, so it wouldn't be the proper for me to second guess it, but it's a legit question because it's been a number of years in a row now.
Yeah, they've been, 30th in the league, I think, the last 2 years, and this year they're obviously off to a really tough start. I think they're starting to play a little better. But to your point, I think it is a concern. I don't think I know Matt Hendricks. I'm sure this keeps him up, right? He's the GM for the last couple of years there. I think the injuries definitely create a trickle-down effect, but they've got to get that going right. They keep on adding veterans there. They're spending a fortune on salaries down there, and they're certainly not getting the bang for the buck. Any other questions before we wrap up the show? Going once, going twice, going three. Nobody? All right. Anthony, what do you got going on this week? What are you doing tomorrow? Are you going to come to the game?
I'll probably come to the game. Actually, we're gonna go to some kind of bourbon tasting thing earlier before the game. So if I show up there, it might be after a couple bourbons.
All right.
We don't have the game tomorrow. It's national TV tomorrow night. But then Pittsburgh and Winnipeg, and looking forward to. I like going to Pittsburgh. This is the first time we've been to Winnipeg with a full day off in a long time. It's been.
Remember the last time that we had a full day off there? It was
during the playoffs.
Wasn't it the time that you and I were at Sharky's, and it was you said that's the last time I'm ever coming there?
Oh yeah,
yeah, and
I haven't
there,
been
like
back
half the
since.
Milwaukee Admirals were there, and
that's
like
right.
a bunch of.
But did we even have I think it was just lunch, where maybe we had come in.
Yeah, maybe it was.
I think it was lunch the day of the game.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But we fly in there after the game, so we have a full off day in Winnipeg, which it's been a while. I'm not necessarily looking forward to that, but I am looking forward to Pittsburgh. I like going to Pittsburgh.
What are you doing in Pittsburgh?
Well, we're going to have dinner with the guys from FanDuel that are coming into town. So we've got a dinner, and then there's a little music and jazz spot that I like to go to after dinner.
Well, I land at 6:30, so text me where you are. All right, thanks to our incredible sponsors. Again, pay attention to our social media for when our live show will be in December. Anthony and I will do one other show before Thanksgiving to wrap up this month. And thanks for coming on out.
Thanks for coming out.
Happy birthday, Chris. Thanks to our incredible sponsors and for joining us in the Aquarius Home Services studios. Live from Splitrocks, Aquarius Home Services, your local authorized dealer for Connecticut water treatment systems, Clamshell Beach Resorts, Onyx, Hunt, Twill in the Edina Galleria, Royal Credit Union, and Stretch Lab. Thanks, everybody, for coming on out.
So much coming out, there's nothing going in. I know that you feel like you're never gonna win. Oh, but the world won't